Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is Isaac Shutt, your favorite wills and estates attorney. And I have an article here today from In Touch magazine about Toby Keith's estate. I think this is really interesting. In fact, there's several things about this article that are really interesting to me, and I think you'll find them interesting as well. You probably know that Toby Keith, famous country musician, he passed away of cancer here in 2023. And some of the court documents are actually public record from Oklahoma. And so In Touch was able to see those public probate court documents, and that's kind of the basis for this article. So the article says, according to court documents obtained by In Touch, Toby's widow, Trisha Koval, and by the way, I hope I'm not butchering that. It's Covel. So I don't know if that's Koval or Kovel, but anyway, Toby's widow, Trisha Koval, filed to be named administrator of Toby Keith's estate. Toby died on February 5th, 2 years after he announced that he had his cancer. And in June of 2022, the singer told fans, "Last fall, I was diagnosed with stomach cancer. I've spent the last 6 months receiving chemo, radiation, and surgery. So far, so good. I need time to breathe, recover, and relax. I look forward to spending time with family, but I will see fans sooner rather than later." And of course, Toby didn't make it from that illness. Now, the interesting thing is that according to these public record documents, Toby did his will just after he received his cancer diagnosis. And that's actually fairly common. We have a lot of clients who maybe put off their estate planning until they have a serious diagnosis. And I'll tell you, the only thing that scares me about that a little bit is you don't want to wait too long because people always kind of imagine that, okay, I can do that mañana, I can do that tomorrow, and then mañana doesn't come. So you kind of don't want to wait until you have a diagnosis like this. But in this case, fortunately, Toby was able to do updated estate planning documents after his diagnosis while he was still clear-minded and everything. Now, like a lot of other celebrities, Toby Keith did have a trust as well, and it looks like this is a will that was designed to work in conjunction with his trust. The article says that it is anticipated that Toby's estate is valued at more than $400 million. The article says in court documents, Trisha said Toby died owning real and personal property in Oklahoma. And then, like I said before, Trisha said the last will and testament was executed on December 15th, 2022, a couple of months after Toby received his cancer diagnosis. The lawyer notes in one filing that he had a number of LLC interests. There was a lot of confidential information. And the lawyer states that Toby is an accomplished musician, entertainer known around the world as Toby Keith, and because of his celebrity status and fame, he and his family are under constant threats for their safety and for their security. And during his lifetime, Toby undertook numerous measures to keep his personal information and that of his family members hidden from the public, including but not limited to having his home address and deed to his homestead sealed from the public by court order, using an alias for his name, his wife, and his children, and engaging with a personal security company to provide security for his family and to that of his family members at all times during the day, night, and week of the year. Now, the reason the lawyer is mentioning all that in the court documents is that in the court documents, they're actually asking the probate court judge to seal or keep confidential certain aspects of the will and estate. I can tell you here in Texas, that's not allowed. Wills are public record, which is why a lot of people go with a trust instead of a will, because trusts are far more private. But apparently in Oklahoma, if you have a good reason and you file a request, the judge can grant some confidentiality or seal the records. And here in the public filing, we see that request to have the more sensitive information sealed. Now, according to the article, the judge did agree and did seal a lot of this file. So you're never going to be able to see a lot of what's in this probate file because the judge granted the request. Now, it's interesting, and this is kind of touching as well. Toby's son, Stellan, posted an emotional tribute on Instagram. He shared a photo of him as a child with his father, and Stellan writes on Instagram, "You are the strongest man I've ever known, a fighter, a true titan of your industry, my guiding star, my coach, my hero, an embodiment of the American spirit. You are a man whose strength, prowess, and talent could only be trumped by his ability to be a father and a husband." And I think that's a wonderful tribute. And then he ends that Instagram post with, "It's not goodbye forever, it's just goodbye for now." So, all in all, it's kind of an interesting article because, again, the family is requesting some privacy and some confidentiality there. That probably is a massive estate, estimated at $400 million. And, a lot of celebrities want to keep their finances out of the public's eye. And by having a trust, sort of the inner workings of who gets what and, what really is there, the components of that estate, those are going to be kept confidential. It sounds like probably what happened is some parts of what Toby owned were not in the estate. Were not in the trust and would go from the probate estate into the trust. And so those things that weren't in the trust, they're having to specially request permission to keep those things confidential through sealing those court records. So I think that's kind of interesting because that's not even allowed here in Texas. But apparently in Oklahoma, where Toby died, it is allowed. Another thing that I thought was interesting, I didn't know this, that Toby's name is actually Toby Keith Koval or Koval, not Toby Keith. So that was kind of an interesting thing for me to learn through this case, that his family name is Covel. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe a little bit of trivia there for you. Anyway, I think those things are really interesting. I thought you might think they're interesting as well.